Elden Ring reviews are finally out, and with it we have a little bit of discourse that I wanted to discuss today regarding gatekeeping around Elden Ring. Here we have Jason Schreier, a reporter for Bloomberg, who commented on his own playthrough of Elden Ring, saying, "If you plan on playing Elden Ring, here's a big tip. Have a journal, or my version of text edit file. You can put markers on the map, but there's no quest log or NPC appendix, and you'll find it very helpful to keep track of what's where and who wants what." This started a whole bunch of discourse about accessibility for players who want to have a quest log to keep track of all the things going on in the story. And the problem with this response is that it doesn't really work that way for Elden Ring. Quests don't work this way in FromSoft games. We would think of a quest log saying, "Hey, go fetch 5 rabbit pelts for me." That's not how it will work in Elden Ring. The NPCs here aren't going to give you strict quest lines that they're going to go down. It's more like you're discovering who they are throughout the game. You might run into an NPC who says, "I hate the bloody fingers and I want to destroy their order." And so that tells you as a player, I should watch out for these bloody fingers. They sound dangerous. Or this guy in front of me is quite dangerous. And that gives you information for how you want to interact with the bloody fingers in your journey later on. Say you end up joining the bloody fingers, you could make this guy your enemy, or you can help him extinguish them. But there's no quest log that's going to tell you how to do that. You just have to uncover it by exploring the world. When people understand that there's no real questing system in Elden Ring, Jason Schreier goes on to say that having a quest log would make the game worse, and some people might agree with that, but then they bring up the fact that some people have memory issues, short-term memory loss, or ADHD, and so taking notes could be a huge problem for those types of players. And if we want the game to be more accessible to those players, I think they're right. And this is where a lot more of the gatekeeping comes in. Many players are saying just get good, remember things, and that's not a good way to approach these issues. If it's a problem for so many players that everyone is complaining about this and there's a discourse around it, the game should probably address it in some way or another. And I think not having a quest log, but a log that tracks all the dialogue that the player has been through so far would be okay for those players, and it wouldn't disrupt the experience for experienced players that don't want to have that feature. And they can also just choose not to interact with it. More options is almost always better. Schreier goes on to say that he thinks most players will approach the game saying, "Wow, it'd be fun to keep track of these weird things I'm discovering." And that's true, it's a lot of fun to interact with the game outside of the game. Part of the reason that the FromSoft games have continued to live on so far after their release is because the community has continued to work together outside of the game to come up with theories around the lore and what it all means. I think some players just don't want to interact with that, and that's completely fine too. It's great to interact with this discourse, but I think it's a really harmful thing for the Souls community when people will just reply with, "Get good." I thought we got past this gatekeeping years ago, and I would like to see the community to continue to grow away from that. I don't think this system is really going to break or make the game for most people, but let's all just have fun tomorrow.